are now tuning in to the Going North podcast with your host, best-selling author, professional speaker, and member of the John Maxwell team, Dominic Dom Brightman. And every Monday and Thursday, we're going to hear the voice of a different author sharing their gifts, stories, and expertise to help you charge forward in life. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, known as GMP, the Great Glorious and Glamorous, is the Going North podcast. And we got another super special, awesome human for it today from the best-selling, magnificent, marvelous, and magnificent Mayhem to Miracles, baby. That's right, another contributing author. And today's contributing author is a 30-year-old citizen of the world. You heard that right, folks. Citizen of the whole freaking globe, y'all, who is actually pursuing his dream of becoming a shaman. And his purpose is to open a healing home centered around shamanism and addiction counseling to help people from all walks of life to heal from their traumas. So let's give it up for Mr. MB himself, Mehdi Bouneb. How you doing today, Mehdi?
Good, man. Thanks for the beautiful introduction. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Woohoo! Yes, indeed. That's right. That's right, indeed. Well, the good news is all introductions, no matter how good they are, aren't allowed to be 17 days long, so mind filling in any cavities I may have missed about you?
No, you didn't miss anything at all.
I'm pretty sure I forgot a whole bunch of stuff, so my goodness. So out of all the things to do, like becoming a shaman, what led to that, man?
It's not even something that I was thinking about until I started my own journey with plant medicine work. And so I use plant medicines like ayahuasca to help me on my journey to sobriety. It was definitely like one hell of a roller coaster, you know. I'd say the best roller coaster of my life, full of ups and downs, lots of lessons. And eventually I got the calling to actually deepen my relationship with the medicine and start working with it and learn from it. And then I went down to the jungle and I started the journey.
Oh, wow. All right. Cool. So the ayahuasca, like I heard quite a few things about it where it's like it has to be administered, I believe, at least by, I guess, two shamans or something. They have to hold you down or something, if I'm not
No,
mistaken.
it doesn't always have to be. It's not necessarily two shamans, right? It depends on where you're going. And I guess it depends on where you're going and who's leading the space, right? So like for my retreats in Costa Rica, for example, we only have one shaman and his wife is a facilitator, right? So she doesn't drink with us. She more like sits in the space, and in case you need help going to the bathroom, she helps you walk to the bathroom. If you need that assistance, if you need to go outside for a second, she'll help you go outside. But the most shamans that I've had at one time was 5 in Peru.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. And I'm guessing it's like a 2-day experience in total from when you drink it, right?
No, if you go, it's more like retreats, right? So you can either do like 1 week retreats or 2 week retreat, and you either drink every other day, like 3 times a week or something like that, depending on where you go, of course.
Oh,
And
okay.
but I would say that ayahuasca is not just like a 1 week experience, right? It just stays with you for a very long time afterward. And even when you come home from your journey, like you still get these breakthroughs that come. Like it could be like a little moment that happens around the house, and like, holy shit, like I have another breakthrough. And yeah, it just stays with you.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Yeah, because a couple guests on this show in the past have actually had a ayahuasca experience, and it's like changed their lives for like ever.
Yeah,
Because of like,
definitely life changing. And also it's not for everybody, you know. Like you got to be certain
mhm.
you got to be sure. Like you step into that room, you got to be sure.
That's right. Got to be sure indeed. So my goodness. So what led you up to becoming really sure to really even learn about it and actually follow through with it? It seems like multiple times you've been through it actually.
Yeah, I mean, I have 38 ceremonies under my belt, you know, and it's not about the amount of ceremonies, right? It's more the lessons that you get and how you integrate them into your daily life. But how I started with ayahuasca is, obviously I suffered from addiction for a long time, and I was never a fan of, like Western medicine, like regular medicine, right? I was never a fan of that, and then I came across ayahuasca while watching a documentary on National Geographic called Drugs Inc. And it said that ayahuasca could potentially help you overcome addiction, depression. So I started researching it, and I found a couple retreats, and I stuck with the one that, gave me those butterflies. And I hopped on a plane to go to Costa Rica January 2017 for the first time by myself, and the journey started.
Wow. All right. That's what I'm talking about indeed. So, my goodness. So, watching that documentary helped you to overcome those past addictions. So, did the first, like, retreat, like, help you really knock out the addictions for good, or did it need, like,
No,
multiple
so
trips?
the first retreat was, it was like an introduction, a middle, and a conclusion. Not even a conclusion, right? I don't know what how you could put it, because there is no conclusion, right? But it gave me an introduction of what my journey towards sobriety was going to be. It showed me visions that happen later on down the road. And for example, I'll just give you one. In my second ceremony, I found myself. So this is in my vision, and it's all happening right there. And I found myself walking a path, and I came to a fork in the road, which is why my story in Mayhem to Miracles is called a fork in the road, a significant fork. And at that fork, I saw the path split into two, and at the end of those paths, there were two gates guarded by angels. But I didn't
Mm.
know what was behind each one, and I wasn't in a position to force the angels' hands. So I just said, okay, I'll just see what happens. And 10 months down the line, I found myself at that exact fork in the road, where it was October 8th, 2017, and I sat in my car, and it was the culmination. It was basically the culmination of a month long monstrous binge, is how I call it. And I got into my car. I texted one of my dealers, and I was like, "Hey, yo, I'm coming to pick up heroin. I'll see you in a couple hours." And then immediately I started the car, and simultaneously I just broke down in tears. And it's like I sat in limbo in the car for about an hour, and I was transported back to that vision where I found myself at that fork in the road. In one of the
Mm.
gates, the angels had like their hands on the doors ready to open it. And basically I had this voice in my head that said, go down that path if you will, but just know you'll never come back from it. And immediately
Mm.
I understood that if I go to Los Angeles and follow through with heroin, then that would have been the end. I would have come back to Vegas, whether it's a week, a few weeks, a month, a couple months. Who knows how long it would have been, but definitely would not have been long. And that's the path that I would have chosen, that I was on. And then I looked at the other path, and it remained in the dark. Didn't know what it was, and I was like, it's got to be better than death, right?
Mhm.
And after that hour that I spent in the car crying, debating, just fighting with my dark side, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna step off this path of death, and I'm gonna step onto the other one. And the best way I can put that other path is uncertainty, because I didn't know what it was, unknown, you know. And boy, am I glad that I stepped onto that path, because now it's been 4 years and just a little over 4 years and 2 months, and the dream continues.
Ah, well, amen to that, man. Amen to that. I'm glad. Good thing I actually went on that trip and actually had that vision, and it's like, wow. I guess in a way it was kind of, hmm. Wouldn't say
Yeah,
setting a trap in a way, but it was more of like prevention.
yeah, exactly. It was almost like a premonition.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So my goodness, man. So that definitely a powerful story indeed. And so, in addition to that, is there any other actions you may have taken in addition to doing the retreats and the ceremonies? Has there been anything else in your shamanism training that you really incorporate into your daily life to strengthen your resolve to stay away from basically the heroin and the other drugs? Or I believe you called them the girls in your story, right?
I call them the girls, that's who they were. They have their own identities, they have their own personas, right? And so my first time in Peru 2 years ago, when I started the journey towards becoming a shaman, I did a month-long healing diet, right? It's where I was dieting a master plant. I was dieting this tree that you take a shot of this of the sap of the tree every morning for 30 days, and it's supposed to clean the energy of the drugs from your system. So
Mm.
in my ceremonies, 16 over the course of a month, I went through turmoil, I went through battles, I went through a lot of, again, like a roller coaster, right? And the last 5 ceremonies, each ceremony focused on one girl. And during those ceremonies, I would have these words come to me in my head, and I would write a poem while I'm tripping balls in the jungle in my head. I would have that poem, and writing that poem in my head would basically guide me through the ceremony. And at the end of the ceremony, I would quickly write it down on my phone, and I would share it with the rest of the group, right? And having those poems, and if you're open to hearing one, I can read one for you later if you want. Having those poems are like my healing songs, my 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 words of appreciation and gratitude for having had those experiences. But because I have those healing songs, I know that I have no more desire to ever go back to them. Like I can be around people, like when I go out, I mean, I live in Vegas, right? So I go out from time to time, and there's people around doing drugs, drinking. I have no problem whatsoever being around them. And like between you and me, and I know people are going to hear this, but I roll joints for my sister. My sister smokes weed, and marijuana used to be one of my addictions, right? But I have no problems with her smoking weed. I can roll joints for her. I have no attraction towards my, now I call them my exes, right? Because that's what they are, right?
Hmm.
And yeah, I know what my bigger purpose is. I know what the big picture is, and every day I'm doing little steps towards painting it. But to me, like it'll never be a finished canvas, right? Because the journey towards shamanism is not, it doesn't end when you serve medicine, right? The healing continues, the growing continues, and that's what it's all about, really, man. Like if there was like a conclusion, like you'd want to do more, right? So I don't put a ceiling on what I'm going to be able to do as a shaman. I'll just go as far as I can, to the edges of the universe, if you want me to put it that way, if there is even an edge.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely. It's like, oh yeah, because we're just in the Milky Way. I'm sure there's Andromeda galaxies and all these other
Yeah,
galaxies. Like,
absolutely.
yeah, maybe even go to the Samsung Galaxy. Yes. But definitely bigger than that. But that's amazing, dude. And it's good that you're actually seeking to really get as much you can out of life, especially with your training as a shaman and goals to not only become one but go as far, plus ultra in a way with it. And it's kind of interesting, like you no longer do the marijuana, but still rolling blunts for your sis. So none of the temptation pops up at all
No,
during that.
no temptation whatsoever.
No, okay.
And it's thanks to those healing poems that I have.
I'm not is this going to be a published novel in the future? The healing poems from a shaman.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm basically reworking my second book, which was my personal journey with ayahuasca and how it's helped me overcome my addictions, make peace with my childhood trauma, and give birth to my dream of becoming a shaman and helping others heal. And it's going to be in that book for sure.
Ah, sweet. That's what I'm talking about. So, have any other poems off the top of your head you want to drop on us, or anyone you want to share with the listening audience?
Here, I'll pull it up right now for you. I have it right here, and I will read you the one that was hardest to write, but very satisfying. So this is about cocoa, which was my biggest addiction, cocaine. Up the slope, the headliner awaits. At the summit, you will find straws and blades. Rack your lines, get the track ready. We'll ski down the mountain together, ultimately hitting higher grounds. I invited you in my body through my nose and mouth. I give you skinny lines along my cigarettes. I wrote my name using your flashy white powder. No wonder they called me CLA. In your purity, I lost myself to you. When I told you of a dark and lonely place, you became my only friend. I don't regret giving you a home. We were in need of each other. We listened and took advantage of one another. I tried to take us to the point of no return and blamed you. Reality is, I'm responsible for my 3 failed suicides. You knew I was on the edge and needed a sign. You were an ally that was there with me until I got us to rock bottom. Only then did I know how to rebuild thanks to the stage you helped me create. Covered in the debris, I rose from the ashes. I don't need Mount Coco anymore to feel like I'm on top of the world. Now that I'm off the slope, I can say goodbye, for our story has been written in electric powder and is now part of history. You were a stepping stone toward building my dream. With eternal gratitude, peace, and love. Farewell, dear Coco.
Man, oh man.
And all
Man,
that
oh man.
happens in ceremony. And I our ceremony lasted maybe like 6 hours, and that happened in the first 3 hours. And during the entire remaining 3 hours, I'm like saying that poem, and it's just etched. It's like almost like sewed into my cells to know that this part of my life has healed.
Mm, that's
That's
what
the
I'm
way I
talking
see it.
about.
That's why I know that there's nothing that'll ever make me want to touch it again or touch the other girls either.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. That's right, indeed, because I'm sure every man at one point would like a harem in their young, crazy, horny days, but in this case, it's like you left the harem behind, which is freaking amazing and good. It's freaking phenomenal. So my goodness. So for those who maybe well, I hope they're not dealing with the harem, but the thing is, with the way times are now, they may be going through their own addictions. Any advice for them if they may not be ready to go the ayahuasca route just yet, or even want to learn more about it just yet?
Well, like we talked before, ayahuasca is not really for everybody, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's nice to educate yourself on what ayahuasca does, right? But you shouldn't go because you want to try and get high or get a trip out of it. You should really ask yourself, what is ayahuasca really? Why do I need it? And how can it help me? If you can answer these 3 questions, then possibly it is for you, right? And if your intentions are to heal, then if you feel like you might be able to handle it, then by all means go. But it's nothing like you've ever experienced. So any advice that I have for people who are struggling with addiction is look at your relationship with the substance and ask yourself, is this really worth it? What is it what's it doing for me? Why do I love it? You don't need to ask yourself, why am I an addict, right? But what am I trying to numb? Why the pain? Is this temporary? Because we all know it's temporary, right? Like the high is not going to last forever. So don't lose hope. There's always hope. There's always a way.
Ah, definitely can say that again, indeed, definitely.
It's the simplest way I can put it, and maybe the simplest way is the best way. Don't overcomplicate. Don't overcomplicate your journey to sobriety. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. Because if you put so much pressure on yourself to be sober, if you have a relapse, then you feel terrible, then you're going to want to relapse even more, right? So, yeah, let's not be hard on ourselves. Let's take it one day at a time, and have a big picture in mind and try to paint that canvas every day.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Solid advice indeed. Yeah, because the thing is, like addiction, sometimes they can be even relationships when you think about it. Because, like, when it's something that's you allow to become so close to you, like if it's alcohol from some past guests or even the cocoa. And sadly, that darn rap song "I'm in Love with the Cocoa" came my head when you mentioned it. And I'm like, ah, dang, like they encouraging bad freaking behavior. Like, darn it. But it's like, hey, don't beat yourself up too much on a journey. Like, see where you truly are with it, and see, like, take simple baby steps to try to do
Absolutely,
something.
absolutely. You're like, we all know the expression Rome wasn't built in a day, right? So if you fall, then try to get back up. You know, don't beat yourself up over it.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. So, out of curiosity, you got this tattoo on the neck looking like three flowers, man. Is there a special meaning behind it?
So this is a lotus flower with the symbol of the throat chakra sitting on it. And for me, I feel like my throat chakra is the dominant one because it's about communication. And that's who I am, really. I'm a communicator, I'm a storyteller, I'm a writer, I'm an author, like I just love to communicate, but also it's important to listen. I
Beautiful
have
indeed.
59 tattoos, man. So that's a story that's 59 stories for another day.
Don't worry, because that was the one sticking out the most since we're both on camera. I'm like, I wonder if it's a flower. Like, I know it ain't no bat. They could pass for bat wings, but nah, that ain't no bat. That's a lotus flower.
Oh man, I have 59 and I'm not done yet. I have a couple more in mind before I stop putting my body through that.
There you
Long
go.
hours.
Oh, yeah, especially if you decide to go through the re-inking process down the road, I imagine.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, since the man mentioned he's a communicator, has there been a story that stuck out to you in your life that's really impacted you on your journey that may have helped you to stay strong in your journey in addition to all the stuff you've been through?
Like you hear these stories of never giving up, like you hear of athletes who pull a hamstring when they're so close to the finish line and they still go and finish, and I forgot the name of the movie. Like, I'm sure it's gonna come. Cool Runnings. You know the movie Cool Runnings, right?
Oh yeah, I love cool runnings.
Right. So like in their final race, the bobsleigh gets all out of whack and it gets broken, and you think that they're gonna give up, right? But all four of them, they carry that thing to the finish line and everybody claps for them, and it's just a message like, no matter if you fall short, pick yourself up, hold your head high, and just don't give up. You may not have gotten the ultimate goal that you wanted, right? But at least just the fact that you did not give up can give you courage and a lesson, of course, to continue moving forward. And if you choose to learn from the lesson, then you're definitely not gonna be in that position again, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's right indeed. Especially when you look in the mirror and tell yourself you're a bad mother who don't take no crap from nobody.
I love it. I love it. I get myself plenty of pep talks in the mirror.
That's what I'm talking about. Pep talks are probably pep poems too, I imagine.
Absolutely. I write poems. Me and my friend are poem bros.
That sounds like a t-shirt idea right there.
You know what? We were talking about that. Like every time we go out to the day clubs or the nightclubs, we wear the t-shirt and like we have a cool logo and it says Poem Bros. And we talk to cocktail waitresses a lot, right? And some of them are poem worthy, like
There you go.
everybody deserves a poem, to be honest, no matter who they are.
See, there you go. There you go. That's right. The ladies love them, baby. The Poem Bros.
Love it.
That's right. There may be a podcast coming out soon called Poem Bros, y'all. That's right.
That's a great idea.
That's right, indeed. That spoken word. Yes, indeed. So, my goodness. So, since you've been on this little mini tour promoting your story in the Mayhem to Miracles book and all the work you're doing and what you're going to be doing in the future, is there a question that you wish you would be asked more often?
Uh, that's a good one, but I don't lose sight of what my big picture is, right? But I wish instead of people always asking, "Oh, what is this?" right? So like, what is the shaman? What is this? Like I'd love to have people ask why, because I have nothing to hide about my story, right? But if you just ask, for example, what, and whatever the rest of the question is, you're only scratching the surface. And having people ask me why I do the things that I do, it establishes a greater connection. And that's what I'm about, connecting with people.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. That's right, because that why question is a shovel, y'all. That's right, it digs deep, y'all. That's right.
Absolutely.
Yes,
And then it
indeed.
opens into the how, like
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. So, my goodness. So, asking more why questions, indeed. That's right. My man's got that wonderful vision ahead, and he's
thought provoking,
plotting.
you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can say that again because it's like, oh, so why? It's like, yeah, it's like the kid asking you why over and over again. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
it's because I'm the adult. That's why. Like them kids be on to something.
And we tend to forget to ask why. Everybody seems so content on the surface. When How do you really get to know somebody? You know, you get that
Oh yeah.
shovel and you start digging.
Oh yeah. That's right. And some folks is like, all right, I think we might need to hit him over the head with the shovel to make a run for it. Let me stop. Metaphorically. It's like, did you hear the news today? Whack. Okay. All right, cool. I think we've learned enough. Oh, man. So, if the book Mayhem to Miracles was a food item, what would it be and why?
If it was a food item,
Yeah, man.
lasagna, because I fucking love lasagna. And I wouldn't put it down until it's over.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, indeed, because lasagna has many layers.
Absolutely. I did not even think about that. That's a good one. That's a good one, Dom. That's a really good one.
Oh yeah, yes indeed. That's why I've been asking it more often and having folks put a why after, because there's usually a deeper meaning. Folks love to eat food usually, even if they're fasting, and it's like, hey,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's like, oh yeah, lasagna. There's many layers to this book. Oh, it's like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna call this book blueberries because it's like you can't just have one. You gotta have the whole batch of blueberries. Like you gotta have
That's also a good one.
it.
And it can even be an onion, right? Because some stories, when the more deeper you go into it, you might have a couple tears.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you're so right about that. Especially, my goodness, actually takes me back to what you mentioned earlier because you had three suicide attempts. So, my goodness, man. So, any advice for those who may be going through that too and thinking of pressing the off switch when they need to not press that off switch?
For me, those three attempts, I was trying to OD on coke multiple times, and you got to do a lot, right? I'm not telling you to do a lot, but you got to do a lot. And I feel like every time I was looking for that last line to take me, it was almost like you know how I give them personas, and like it's almost like I was talking to them. I would have the substance talk to me, and I would have Coco talk to me and be like, no, you're gonna have to do more. And the more and more and more I did, the more and more she fought back. And eventually, like, I would stop trying, right? Because it's like, this is not happening. Okay, so like I must not be good at this. Right? Like, I can laugh about it now, right? But in a way, I feel like the cocaine really was saving my life. You know, like that last line never came. And any advice to anybody who's going through that? I mean, our stories of suicide are all so different. You know, you don't know what somebody's going through, but you know, like I always tell myself that, you know, like there's so many people in this world. If I have a rough day, whether it's relationship, friendship, business, or anything like that, if things get a little rough, I always tell myself, like, you know, like this is nothing, because somebody out there could be experiencing something worse. So I should just be grateful for the position that I'm in and work myself out of it. You know, I mean, it's easier said than done when you're trying to commit suicide, you know, but somebody's just having it worse, you know, and what you're going through, you just know that adversity is not forever. It's going to expire at some point. You may not know when that is, but it will. You know, you just gotta have faith in what you believe in, and that things will work out, that everything happens for a reason, and it does.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. Adversity is not forever, y'all. That's right. Adversity is not forever, y'all. So that's right. Don't try to OD yourself into oblivion. Like, my man has
Yeah.
a mission on Earth, y'all. That's right. That's why the cocaine didn't take
Everybody
him
has a
out.
mission. Everybody, no matter who they are, they have a mission. And sometimes we don't find out till later. You know, I didn't find out what my mission was. I mean, till I was what, 27, like I almost turning 28. And sure, I'd been sober for 11 months at that time, right? But I still didn't know what I wanted to do. And then when I got that calling, I was like, this is what I'm meant to do. And this is what I'm going to paint. And I'm not going to stop until I get there. And even when I get there, I'll just start a new canvas and then continue to create that story.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. That new canvas, y'all. That's right. That's right, indeed. My man's painting more than poodles now, y'all. That's right.
I'm painting horses now. A little more complicated.
That's right. That's a new one. That's right. Them thoroughbreds, y'all. That's right. That's right, indeed. That's right, the whole loaf. Well, we're. Oh man, me and my corn. Well, we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive, and that is if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but you're in the current year with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
What advice that I'd give to myself if I was 25 again and wake up with the knowledge that I have today?
That's right, and you're in 2021. That's right.
6 years ago seems like an eternity, man.
Eternity and yesterday. It's the same
Absolutely.
dang time.
I mean, the advice that I just keep pushing. No matter what, just keep pushing, but always do it from a place of love. Because I didn't always act from a place of love before, especially when I was 25.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about indeed. That's right. Keep pushing, y'all. That's right. Unless you're a drug dealer listening to this. If you're listening to this, you're a drug dealer. Stop pushing. Just don't like no. You just stop pushing, sir. Push towards getting away from that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Oh man. Hey, that would be an honor though if a drug dealer was listening to this show and changed his life forever. That would be freaking amazing. I'd freaking love it.
That would be fantastic, you know, and who knows?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
I stopped pushing.
It's like, all right, press the button, ATM money out. Here you go, buddy. Give me this sniff. All right, cool. All right. Oh God. Oh. And then wake up the next day. It's like, oh, that didn't feel good. Like, oh. But for those who felt good after listening to this wonderful show and want to continue to feel good by keeping up with all the stuff that you're doing, what's the best way for folks to do so?
Anybody can reach out to me on Instagram. You know, my handle is Mehdi underscore LBA. So MEHDI underscore LBA. And yeah, that's the easiest way to contact. I mean, I check my emails every day too, right? But everybody goes on Instagram, right? So if you feel like hitting me up, hit me up.
Well, there you have it, folks. Slide into his DMs, y'all. That's right. Slide to the DMs. Be like, hey, enjoyed hearing you on the podcast, you man. Keep doing what you're doing, indeed. Keep pushing. I'm not push no drugs. I'm going to push some hope, y'all. That's right.
There you go.
That's right. That's right. Some transformational hope.
Yeah, let's create some transformation talk, you know?
That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. So, any parting words before we close up shop, my man?
If anybody's going through addiction, all I can tell you is that, you know, it gets easier. Good luck. And recovery is possible. You know, you just gotta believe that it is.
How's it going, my friend? I'm glad you made it to the end. That shows that you really enjoyed what you heard and you are an uncommon finisher. Thanks for giving this show a listen. If you really want to help out the show, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone that you care about or someone that needs to hear this message, because we want to spread this podcast around like butter on bread, if that's your type of thing. And if it's not your type of thing, still spread it around anyway, because good stuff needs to be shared with good people like yourself.